Everyone loves Brad Pitt, right? Not exactly. Two presidents and a heavyweight champion aren't the only people to have issues with the Oscar-winning actor. Being caught with Robin Givens by her estranged husband, Mike Tyson, is a literal nightmare scenario, one that Brad Pitt experienced in the late 1980s. However, things didn't turn out the way you might expect. During a chat on In Depth with Graham Bensinger, the world heavyweight boxing champion recalled that he got mad as hell when he discovered the then relatively unknown Pitt while paying Givens a visit for some bedroom activity of his own. As he put it, "I was going to my lawyer office to divorce her that day, but I wanted to sneak in a quickie. This particular day, someone beat me to the punch. I guess Brad got there earlier than I did. You should have seen his face when he saw me." In another chat with Sway Calloway for SiriusXM's Shade 45, Tyson revealed that Pitt wasn't exactly the heartthrob he became at the time. Joking, "He looked like he must have been a little high, because I know about high. He wasn't the Brad now with the reputation he's upholding. He was like a beach bum, a little nerdy." Despite their differences in size and strength, the boxer admitted he'd been the one afraid to throw a punch during the confrontation.
I was just emotionally comatose because I went from a hard stallion to a wet noodle, and it just totally overwhelmed me, you know?
In 1997, two Hollywood titans from two different generations came together to make a thriller about an IRA terrorist who infiltrates an Irish-American family. While The Devil's Own was a smash at the box office, with a gross of more than $140 million, it came at a cost for both parties. Following the film's release, Ford described the shoot as tough. His co-star went even further, saying, "It was the most irresponsible bit of filmmaking, if you can even call it that I've ever seen. It was a conflict about the script that caused the two actors to butt heads," as Ford explained to Esquire several decades later. He elaborated, "Brad had this complicated character, and I wanted a complication on my side so that it wasn't just a good and evil battle. And that's when I came up with the bad shooting thing. Each of us had different ideas about it. I wanted to stay with my point of view, or I was imposing my point of view, and it's fair to say that that's what Brad felt. It was complicated." Although Tom Cruise has never publicly spoken about his feelings toward Brad Pitt, that hasn't been the case the other way around. Pitt has been more than happy to spill the tea about his Interview with the Vampire co-star. In one instance, Pitt once revealed that working alongside Cruise on the 1994 adaptation of Anne Rice's Gothic novel left him feeling drained, adding, "He bugged me. There came a point during filming when I started really resenting him. He's North Pole, I'm South. He's always coming at you with a handshake, whereas I may bump into you. There was this underlying competition that got in the way of any real conversation." According to the tabloids, Pitt also blasted Cruise's 2008 film Valkyrie, comparing it unfavorably to his own World War II movie Inglourious Basterds. Moreover, Tom was hurt when Angelina Jolie, who was Pitt's partner at the time, replaced him as the lead for the 2010 actioner Salt. Unsurprisingly, the former vampires haven't worked together since. Despite undoubtedly having many more important things to do, then-President Donald Trump made sure to share his criticisms of the 2020 Academy Awards. Along with his opinion that Parasite was undeserving of the Best Picture Oscar, Trump had a serious issue with the contents of Brad Pitt's speech. While accepting the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for his role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Pitt said, "They told me I have only 45 seconds up here, which is 45 seconds more than the Senate gave John Bolton this week. In the end, the adults do the right thing." The actor was obviously referencing the recent decision by the Senate to prevent National Security Advisor Bolton from giving testimony in Trump's impeachment trial. Unsurprisingly, the 45th didn't take this bit of shade lying down, as he made clear at a Colorado rally.
And then you have Brad Pitt. I was never a big fan of his. He got up and said, "Little wise guy statement." Little wise guy.
Back in 1994, getting paid to kiss Brad Pitt was a dream scenario for millions of Hollywood up-and-comers. But for Kirsten Dunst, locking lips with her co-star for Interview with the Vampire was something of a nightmare. There's a simple reason why. Pitt was aged 31 when he portrayed Louis in the adaptation of Anne Rice's Gothic novel, but Dunst, who played Claudia, was 20 years his junior at just 11 years old. In fact, the on-screen smooch was her very first with anyone ever. In an interview with Bullet magazine, she made it crystal clear about how unnerving she found the whole experience. She opened up by saying, "I remember Brad would watch lots of Real World episodes. He had this long hair. He was just a hippie-ish cool dude. Everyone at the time was like, 'You're so lucky you kissed Brad Pitt,' but I thought it was disgusting. I didn't kiss anyone else until I was 16, I think. I was a late bloomer." After suffering from depression, Dunst entered rehab to deal with the fact she'd been working a difficult career at such an impressionable age.
Vampires who pretend to be humans pretending to be vampires.
Avant-garde.
Courtney Love has never been one to hold back, and she didn't disappoint during an appearance on the podcast WTF with Marc Maron when the subject of Fight Club came up. Apparently, the actor and musician has a bone to pick with Tyler Durden. Love revealed that she'd originally been lined up to play Marla Singer, the character who would eventually be played by Helena Bonham Carter in the 1999 cult classic. However, she was removed from the project following an ill-timed beef with Brad Pitt, and it had everything to do with her late husband, Kurt Cobain. Love explained that Pitt had wanted to play the Nirvana lead singer in a proposed biopic, but she didn't seem to think that he was up for the job, declaring, "Who the f*** do you think you are? I don't know if I trust you, and I don't know that your movies are for profit. If you don't get me, you kind of don't get Kurt, and I don't feel like you do, Brad." Despite her strong opinion, Love now wishes she'd waited until the wrap party to give Pitt a piece of her mind.
You want to make an omelet, you gotta break some eggs.
As the second husband of Jennifer Aniston, Justin Theroux didn't seem to be the biggest fan of his wife's first husband. The drama involving the three took another turn in 2016 when Theroux appeared to tell Brad Pitt exactly what he felt about him on Instagram. Theroux nearly broke Instagram when he shared a piece of artwork by graffiti maestro Nick Flat to express his thoughts on the impending presidential election. The expletive-ridden design featured the sentiments racism, imperialism, and war, but it was the middle finger given to a certain actor that got people talking. Yes, the piece also featured the phrase Brad Pitt. The seven-star had famously ditched Aniston a decade earlier to be with Angelina Jolie, but despite the obvious connection, Theroux insisted in the caption that he wasn't throwing shade at anyone in particular. He captioned the image in hashtag form, "And no, this post is not shading anyone because I'm not 11 years old." The majority of his followers, however, were far from convinced. Although the pair now appear to be buddies again, ex-spouses Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston didn't split in the most amicable of circumstances. Indeed, the former left the latter brokenhearted when he left their marriage to be with his Mr. and Mrs. Smith co-star Angelina Jolie. The fact that he was so public about his new love only made matters worse. In 2006, Vanity Fair asked Aniston about Pitt and Jolie's recent 60-page W magazine feature, in which they declared their undying love for each other. Unsurprisingly, she wasn't exactly delighted about seeing their faces stare out to her from the newsstand, explaining, "You joke and say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Aniston went on to say, not unreasonably, that her former husband could have been a little more thoughtful. She continued, "You want to shake out of him and say, your timing sucks. He's made some choices that have been tremendously insensitive. He makes his choices. He can do whatever. We're divorced and you can see why."
I'm sorry, do you have a problem with me?
I don't know. Do I? Do I?
I think you do.
If ever there was a case against walking down the aisle, it would be Brangelina. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie appear to have been the perfect Hollywood couple after falling in love on the set of 2005's Mr. and Mrs. Smith. But within just 2 years of their 2014 wedding, news emerged that the latter had filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. It's fair to say their split hasn't been an amicable one. In 2016, Pitt was accused anonymously of child abuse after reportedly getting into an altercation with Jolie and their son Maddox on a private jet. Soon after, court documents revealed that the Maleficent star believed that she hadn't received adequate financial support since the split. And then, while attempting to divide their assets, Pitt sued Jolie for reportedly allowing a Luxembourg manufacturer to buy her share in their French vineyard without his consent. Jolie has kept relatively silent about their bitter marriage breakdown, but in a 2020 interview with Vogue, she revealed that she'd filed for divorce for the well-being of her 6 kids. She admitted, "It was the right decision. I continue to focus on their healing." The Academy Award winner also hinted at further disharmony over her living arrangements while chatting to Harper's Bazaar, stating, "I would love to live abroad and will do so as soon as my children are 18. Right now I'm having to base where their father chooses to live." To say that World War Z had a difficult inception is something of an understatement. The zombie movie was plagued with various reshoots, rewrites, and the small matter of its leading man and director not speaking a word to each other. Ironically, Brad Pitt, who played the heroic former UN investigator Jerry Lane in the 2013 thriller, had been instrumental in getting Marc Forster the director's chair. Paramount Pictures had initially been reluctant to hand over such a big-budget affair to the man who'd helmed Quantum of Solace, the James Bond flick that had endured a similarly troubled shoot. Pitt was soon left regretting putting Forster's name forward. According to Vulture, their relationship became so strained that the director had to pass on any notes to the actor via a third party. It's not known exactly what caused the friction, but the various script and scheduling problems definitely played their part. Although Pitt and Forster have never addressed the claims directly, the fact that J.A. Bayona and David Fincher were both poised to direct the since-canceled sequel gives them further substance. In 2015, Brad Pitt bought the film rights to The Law of the Jungle, a book by Paul Barrett about the $9 billion oil giant Chevron being fined for causing mass pollution in the Ecuadorian rainforest. As you might expect, some people would rather that story remain obscure, and one of them has been rather outspoken. Soon after the purchasing news emerged, Ecuador's president Rafael Correa addressed the subject on his regular Saturday TV show. He personally invited Pitt to head to the South American nation to see for himself why the book was allegedly inaccurate. Barrett was accused by some of siding with Chevron, particularly for the way in which he criticized Stephen Donziger, the American lawyer who had been fighting on Ecuador's behalf. Correa said, "We invite Brad Pitt to dip his hand in the contaminated soil. We'll see if he continues with this movie project, which would be the biggest act of dishonesty." The disgruntled leader later added, "Surely Brad Pitt does not know what he is getting involved with in the complicity he is falling victim to." Correa's words may have had the desired effect. Nearly a decade on, there's still no sign of an adaptation in the works.